have you ever had some doubts that it's not gonna work?
You cannot do it by yourself. We didn't think of options. I just thought I had to find a way to do it. I killed them all.
Angel Cisneros is a Mexican tech entrepreneur building an AI infrastructure company for Latin America called Saptiva. He previously founded Quiubas, which grew from Mexico's first SMS social network into a multinational messaging platform operating in over 40 countries, which he bootstrapped for 13 years before selling to Twilio in 2020. Angel also invests in startups and serves as a founding partner at Siasa Ventures.
Hello everyone, this is the Silicon Valley Show and my name is Stepura. I'm today's host of this podcast and I have an amazing guest today next to me. It's Angel Cisneros. And he is a great entrepreneur who made a huge impact on LATAM economy, and one of those entrepreneurs who built a successful company which was later acquired by Twilio, and now he is building another great company, first AI orchestration platform in LATAM, aiming to make AI accessible to everyone, while giving companies full control over their data, which is super important. He is here to share his journey and share so valuable insights with you guys. So thank you so much, Angel, for joining me today, for making it from San Jose, from the conference to San Francisco. So thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Anna. And yeah, I mean, we've been trying to make this podcast happen since we met. When was it? Like October?
October. Yeah. First we planned in October, and finally it's March.
So
yes.
But great things take time. So
yes, exactly.
Finally we're here.
Yes, as a startup, as everything in life. Yes, so perfect. So the first question to you would be, of course, about your journey. I know that Quiubas became one of the LATAM's first company which was acquired by Twilio and, of course, which made such a great impact. What was the biggest challenges for you while you were bootstrapping Quiubas? Because this is incredible. You know, guys, he bootstrapped Quiubas. You know, this is even harder, I believe. So what factors do you think contributed to your success, and what was the most challenging?
Yeah, well, I think that looking into retrospective now, I see what were the challenges that we faced. But at the moment, at that time, I didn't see any challenge. My brother, who is my co-founder, again, he was my co-founder in the first one, in Quiubas, he calls it being naive. And I always think about, maybe you've seen that meme on LinkedIn or X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, where they say, we're not doing this because it's easy, we're doing it because we thought it was easy.
Oh my God, this is my
so
favorite
it's
one.
Like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, what the hell, let's do it. I mean, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we come not from a wealthy family. I mean, we were okay. I'm not gonna be one of those founders that said, "Oh, I had to work since I was 3 years old and blah blah blah." Right now, we were good in that sense, but my parents weren't business people. They were employees. So what I'm trying to say is that we had to do things and we just had to do them, right? We didn't think of options, right? So whenever I saw something, I just thought I had to find a way to do it, right? And back in when we started building Quiubas, I started coding it. I came up with the idea on mid-October 2006.
So almost 20 years ago.
Yes.
Wow.
So I came up with the idea, I came back home and just started figuring out how to do it just for fun. So at that time, 2006, I'm talking about pre-smartphone era, pre-iPhone era. I mean, I think iPhone was released in the US, but in that sense, I had no idea that I was building a startup. I had no idea what a startup was.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, VC funding, nothing like that. Exactly, like nothing. It's like, okay, I started doing it for the fun. Then I saw something that could potentially become Quiubas, but at that time I just thought, this can be bigger, right? But I just thought, hey, let's do it. So so challenges were a lot, but at the time I just didn't see them. I just thought like
naive.
Naive, and the biggest challenge was having my day job and not sleeping because I was building Quiubas.
I see. So you were the technical person. Yes, you also have expertise in software engineering.
Yes, I'm actually I majored in what would be in English, computer systems engineering. I never consider myself a good developer or programmer or software engineer. Well, not software engineer for sure. I was never technically good, but I managed to get things done.
Which is the most important part.
Exactly. So I only learned one language to code.
Okay.
ColdFusion.
Okay. Now no one is building on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Nobody knows what's that. But that became the foundation of the first version of Quiubas until I would say 2015, 16. That's when I started coding. And then I started hiring some real software engineers, and they were like, "What the hell is this?" I said, "Well, we have survived for like 9 years with this." So
9 years.
Yes, so
9 years.
Just me. So yeah, I know it's not beautiful, but it gets the job done. But now, in order to, take it to the next level, I really need engineers, right? So that's when they killed ColdFusion, and I think the first version was PHP, and I have no idea which tech stack we ended up with.
So, okay, so that's a great story. And you know that you're from Mexico. And we were chatting before about that, and I love Mexico from my bottom of my heart. And LATAM is known for its unique challenges and also about its opportunities, right? Because something what is launched and already seen in the US, maybe in LATAM would be something new and worth exploring. So can you share, please, what was like some great things and one more time challenges of working in such emerging market as LATAM?
Well, I think that LATAM as a region, Mexico as a country, Brazil as a country, well, specifically those two countries, Mexico and Brazil, they have their own very unique challenges or nuances, as one investor said I should call them. But as a region, I think as a region we have much more similarities or bigger similarities and also challenges, right, or nuances. And on top of that, we have our closeness to the US.
Yeah.
So it's like the US, it's always going to be the big brother, right? So when there's something here in the US, then Mexico looks up to that and says, "Oh, they're doing Facebook. Oh, let's try to do something here, or let's use Facebook for something. Oh, something came here. Let's do that." So it's always like that, right? And it goes all the way down to Argentina. But we see that sometimes it might be frustrating that, of course, whatever it's built here in the US, it's built for the US.
Yeah.
It's not built, not even for other countries or for other markets.
Because it's different nuances, as you told, right?
Totally. Like even the most important, I would say, it's the economy. Like economy in the US is built to spend the money, very consumption.
And LATAM is more like to save, right?
completely the opposite.
Yes.
So exactly. So even like, for example, in something as easy as even as paying taxes. If you want to write off an expense here in the US, we might be in a lunch, and I would say, okay, I had a business lunch with Anna, and maybe I can write it up in a napkin.
Yes.
That's it. That's valid. In Mexico, that doesn't work. In LATAM, in some other countries, that doesn't work. You have to go through a big process.
So it's better not to go to lunch.
Exactly. That's one thing. Or you just try to avoid paying taxes, right? So that's why, like in Mexico, like 35% of population pays taxes.
Ah.
So it's all this that it's not friendly to spend money, right? So just for starters, we can name that, right? So then these kind of things like for regulations or controls that the governments want to put in the population, that brings, I don't want to call them challenges, I call them opportunities.
Yes.
Right? So, and that's the big space where entrepreneurs, founders can find a good business, because the big companies, the big techs or the Magnificent Seven or however you want to call them, they're not going to go to Mexico or LATAM.
Yes.
And do a specific solution for that.
Yes.
They will say, hey, this is it.
Yeah, worldwide, yes. Yeah.
Maybe it works for 60, 40%, 60, 70% of the business cases, but then you have a big gap, right? So I would say that that's kind of the risks for implementing technology. But also the big opportunities is like in Mexico, we came up with a concept that now it's known as the buy now, pay later.
Yeah.
But Mexico developed that.
Oh wow.
Not with that name, but
with the concept.
With the concept.
You can already have it, but even if you don't have all amount of money to buy it, right?
Exactly. Monthly installments.
Wow.
Interest-free payments. 18 months. Pay it on 18 months, pay it on 12 months, interest-free with your credit card. So it's like, okay, nowadays you call it buy now, pay later, right? So things like that, or even like in Mexico, like we have the SPAY, the electronic payment or system. Not even the US doesn't have that, and it's in Mexico sending a wire to another bank. It's immediate, something that in the US doesn't happen.
Same for my country. Like it's immediate, it's 1 second. It's like accessible for every type of banks without commission, wherever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's...
And here it's only just the beginning, because now like in the US we have Zillow and also other things, but it's only the beginning.
But it's another app.
Yes, it's another app. It's not inside of the bank. I don't know why. So my next question would be, of course, with the Quiubas, you have a long journey. And have you ever had those moments when you thought that, oh, it's gonna work? And vice versa, have you ever had some doubts that it's not gonna work?
The thought that it was gonna work, I only had it once.
Oh.
When I started it.
Wow.
I was so convinced
and naive,
and I just said to myself, this is going to happen. I will do this. That's it. But moments when I thought it wasn't going to work, I don't know, 1,000 times I will be falling short. So it's like, oh no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But then my mind, it's just like, it's not going to work. Okay, what do we do in order to make it work, right? So I don't go and say, oh, it's going to die. What do I need to do? No. I just take action, right?
Okay.
So that happened to me a lot. I would say that even like one time we had a big issue that could potentially have led us without our main connectivity framework, and that if that happened, maybe the core business of Quiubas would have stopped. Quiubas wouldn't have died, but I would have had to do some other things. But I managed to fix it or to solve it.
So you never basically give up, and also it's I think it's a part of your character. So because it's a different approach of the mindset when you are seeing the problem and you are thinking about how to fix it, instead of like, oh, why it's so, and be sad and obsessed and quitting it, right? So it's completely different. I think it's the main character of great entrepreneurs, to be honest. And from everybody who I've seen in the same chair, I think that this is something similar, you know, about that. So it's great. And what challenges and of course all of that opportunities which you've seen from Quiubas and all of that setbacks and failures, because you know, like entrepreneurial journey, it's full of failures and you have to embrace it, right? Which one you actually took, learned from that, and then in your new journey with Saptiva, you actually apply it as a great, you know, boost of everything, as a knowledge, like which you would like to have with yourself from all your life?
That it's great to be able and to want to do everything by yourself. It's fine. But if you want to be super great, I'm not talking about being good, being great. No, I'm talking major league things, right? You cannot do it by yourself.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm sure that I learned this.
So in the beginning you were doing it alone, right, for many years, and then you find out that, okay, I have to like find people who would join me, right?
Totally, and I'm seeing it in Saptiva now. Like at the beginning, we started, I mean, a year ago, we started funding ourselves, and then I got a lot of interest from funds, investors, and they, hey, I want, and I said, no, I'm not. I'm sure I'm gonna raise money, but on my terms and on my timing, right? I was able to accept investors that align with my vision and that can help me. I know it's very common to say, oh, I want smart money, but
what does it mean, actually?
Exactly. But in my case, it's like, okay, yeah, it's really like smart money, because I just want you on board so you can help me or have skin in the game, right? And do something. But in here, actually, it happened with some investors that they told me, you don't want to take all the money that I want to invest on Saptiva. I said, eventually, not now, right? Because I just want you on board so you can help me speed things up, right? To build. I think that my other version, my previous version of founder, would have said, no, I can do it myself. So yes, but there's nothing wrong on having help, receiving help from other people that are above you or better position in certain areas where I'm not.
To accept it also, that someone could be smarter in something.
So what I told my brother at the time last year, said, oh, maybe it's because I'm getting old and now I need people to give me their advice, right?
Yes.
Maybe I'm maturing now.
I think it's more that you're mature, more mature, because like usually what it taught us, the journey, that you should be humble and you should always listen to other people, to customers, right? Because only in this way you can build a great product for them, which will be useful then to other people from domain expertise and just in general. And then you make your own assumptions and decisions based on all of that which you know.
Totally. And I think like one of the first steps that I took in Saptiva was having advisors.
Wow.
That's something that I never thought of before, right? Because my mind, I would say that I was short-sighted, just to put it in some words, before. But now I said, hey, Saptiva was great. I did very good, but I want to build something way beyond Saptiva.
Yeah.
So I have to rely on the best of the best, right? So the first thing is that I got on board 3 advisors that are super knowledgeable, super recognized on AI, and somehow I exposed what I wanted to build, and they gave me their blessing, and they became my advisors. They have equity, so it's like before. You know, it's also an interesting switch on how I did things before, because in Quiubas only my brother and myself were the only owners.
Yeah.
Now the first thing is like, okay, let's
Who
give
else
some
should be an
exactly.
owner? Yeah.
Or having my CTO. My CTO is also our co-founder, and he has equity. So the play is completely different. So
But do you see it's like speed up the process of everything or not?
yes, I think that's also the second impactful lesson that I learned, is that I started building faster, but I'm more concerned, well, not concerned, but my priority is building this with quality, and yeah, that's the priority. But also I'm looking at how to sell, the go-to-market,
Yes.
how to validate it. Something that in Quiubas I didn't do that. In Quiubas I was just building the best product ever. Of course, in Saptiva I want to have the best product ever, right? But I think, the mindset it's completely different. Also, 2024, 2025. It's not 2007.
Yes, you shouldn't build the same long time, right?
Exactly.
Before that, it was such a long process because it was not AI, not huge resources for that, right? So it was different approaches. And I completely agree with you on that point that, okay, the first startup founders usually build based on what they would like to build, and then they iterate and pivot so many times because they have to kind of put it inside of the market, right, and find the product market fit. And once you already went through that journey and understand, like, okay, how long it was, the next time you want to kind of validate first, right, find the product market fit, early product market fit, and then like build based on all of that feedback. Yeah, so that's inspiring journey, and yeah, I think that all our listeners today like just taking notes from you, because such level of the person who built successfully sold the company and then come back one more time to build it. But can you share like some insights and lessons from the process of acquisition to Twilio, because it's a huge milestone. Like you was building for so many years, and then you were acquired by such a great, well-known company. If someone do not know Twilio, please Google it. Yeah. So, what was your main lesson, and what do you do right now in order to be potentially acquired, like in Saptiva, right, by someone else bigger, or you would like to IPO, you know, that company. So in general, what was your lessons?
When we were building Quiubas, we were building for us, right?
Yeah.
We were building the company just because we were building the company, right?
Yeah.
No, because we wanted to build a company. We weren't looking at raising funds or selling it, nothing. We're just doing it, right? So it's interesting, and challenges that we saw during the acquisition process, because in Mexico and in general in LATAM, I would say like all the old school businessmen, they build their companies just for them, which I think it's fine, right? And then at some point, I think it also comes to the point where you cannot grow as much or potentially as bigger, right? Because it wasn't built with that structure. So something that happened is like when I created the company, it was constituted with a legal form called SC, Sociedad Civil, which my accountant, which was a friend from college, he had an accounting firm with his dad, so a big accounting firm. So he told me, hey, you're very small. Yes, it was only my brother and myself, right? So he said, you should do this legal entity, so you pay taxes based on
what you
earn, not what you invoice, right? Because otherwise that's gonna kill you. Maybe you invoice, I mean, talking about how we do things in Mexico, you invoice, you make an invoice for 100, so on that month you have to pay taxes for 100, even though maybe that invoice hasn't been paid or hasn't been paid in full, but you have to pay all the taxes for that invoice. So that's gonna kill you, right? So he said, with this, you're gonna have to pay only if they only pay you 10 out of the 100, you'll pay taxes for those 10. Perfect. So that entity remained 13 years later, which of course nowadays you have all these new forms, legal forms, more compliant with investors and
Delaware C corporation, right?
So no
no one knows about that.
Exactly. So what started happening is that during the due diligence, Twilio being a public company, the 500-pound gorilla, they were like, what the hell is here? Because my cars belonged to the company. My brother's car belonged to the company. My mom's car belonged to the company. So everything was acquired or leased
in the company.
I don't care. The company is mine. I use the car. I don't care if it's under my name or not, right? Even I had a house on that. We had a big plot there. So everything. So they were like, what the hell is going on here? So we said, well, the thing is that the company was built in order to serve us as owners, right? I know that might not make sense for here, for the US, but that's the way it is. So even Lupita, who is our right hand for administration purposes, and she has been with us like forever, she had a car leased through the company.
So how you manage that?
It was funny because my head of engineering as well, I think
everybody was
there was a loan for a house to Lupita. So in order for her to ask for a mortgage to a bank, we loaned her the money. Right? So all that things like, what the hell? What's going on here? So what we had to do is like we had to pay for everything to get them out of the company, of the legal structure. But that came from the price of the purchase increased in order to cover that. Right? So nowadays, of course, and then that's for the Mexican entity. Then we had a US company, Colombian company, Argentinian company, Irish company, and Serbian company. The structure was, everything was
inside
a sole entity. Everything was a sole entity.
Never like united.
Nothing. Why? Because that's how we started growing. So it became a mess, so to speak, right? Lots of paperwork. Fortunately, that was during the pandemic, so everybody was at home and
just focused on
everybody
that.
focused
no
on
other
that.
options.
Exactly. And we were a small team, right? So we managed to go through them. We had big advisors from my team. I mean, we had a Baker and McKenzie. We worked with EY, big lawyers. So everything. I mean, we had to pay for everything, right?
Yeah.
One part we had to get some certifications on the accounting, because when you invoice to foreign companies, you don't pay VAT in Mexico, but Telcel, it's a Mexican entity, you have to pay VAT, which is 16%.
Oh, wow.
So that goes directly to you. So it hurts you on your P&L.
Yeah.
So we had to ask for refunds on taxes. So things that in the US, it doesn't exist, right? So we had to hire external companies, accounting companies, to do the audits. And I said, okay, yeah, this is perfectly legal. Boom. But I'm talking about things like, okay, that audit is gonna cost you 60K. Okay, that's gonna cost you 100K, and we had to pay for that. Right? So with that now, of course, now we're building the companies with a structure that it didn't exist in the beginning, like 2007, but now, and we're not building this company, we're not building Saptiva looking to sell it, right? It's just that nowadays, these are the structures that help us with compliance, with accounting, with everything.
With everything, yeah.
Exactly. So we have an Inc. here in the US that owns the SAPI in Mexico.
Yes, I see.
And we have a global accounting firm. We have Baker and McKenzie doing all the legal paperwork, which is not normal for a startup because, of course, they're New York lawyers and everything.
Yeah.
But it gives me peace of mind, right?
Now everything in place and
Exactly.
how it should
like,
be.
for example, we got a lawsuit from a big tech company just recently because of the name.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea about this. My brother just told me, and he said, "Hey, we just won the lawsuit."
Oh, wow.
I said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, the thing is that maybe this company says, it's a startup. But our lawyers are a big top firm. Everything pop. Yeah, it was expensive. Yeah, but
now it's done.
Now it's done, right? So those are the things that we definitely learn from the past experience that has make things easier or with a peace of mind for us.
My next question, of course, would be shortly, in a few words, in a few sentences maybe, what Saptiva is?
The ecosystem for AI in LATAM.
Yeah.
What does that mean? We want to bring AI to everyone in LATAM without the restrictions or without having to compromise either the privacy, ownership, or money. Like, I'm not against hyperscalers like AWS, GCP, Azure, Oracle. Those are hyperscalers, right? But just as we were mentioning previously, they're made for the US.
Yes.
And some use cases might work in LATAM, but like if you want to use your workflows with your data for regulated industries, you cannot send your data outside Mexico.
Yeah.
So that's one. And you have to have the flexibility to do what you want based on your needs of your business or your economical situation, whatever. So you don't have the vendor lock-in, right? So maybe you use one tech company for this because all your data is there, but for your workflow sensitive data, you need it on-prem. Yeah, good luck doing that with the hyperscalers. Now with Saptiva, you can do that. So with Saptiva, we orchestrate the hyperscaler, on-prem, maybe the on-prem, it's, I don't know, behind your desk. And then you have another thing that needs to go on your data center, and so on. So it's giving you the flexibility to do that. And also the long tail is all this community for developers in the region that what happens if you don't have a credit card? Are you able to get a GPU?
I think no.
No. Right? Then that's why then the mission is to democratize AI.
Yeah.
So in 2027, maybe there's going to be a lot of autonomous agents.
Yes.
Doing work.
Yeah.
They have to live somewhere. What makes you think that the developer, the engineer that lives in the basement of his or her parents downstairs with no credit card, that doesn't leave the house ever, that he made an awesome agent, whatever, but just because the lack of a credit card, or that he doesn't have the buying power for long-term commitments and all that, right? So that's democratization.
That's the mission. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. But this is, I think, interesting question, not only from me, but from many people. What keeps you motivating to build Saptiva after a successful acquisition?
First, it's a personal thing, craziness. Back in 2023, it was like October 2023, I was playing golf. I love playing golf.
Me too.
But I was like, I was 42 at the time. So I was like, okay, hopefully I can live at least another 40 years. But if I only play golf, I'm not gonna live not even 10 more.
Because it's boring.
I think it's. I kept saying to myself, I'm too young to be retired. But if I'm gonna come out of retirement, it has to be with something huge, super big. I mean, of course, at the time we were doing some things, some other traditional businesses, but I love building. And of course, I love making money, right? But I love building. Just the fact that in the computer, back when I was a developer, just having a blank screen, because I'm that old, right? I had to write code just from a blank screen, not editor, not Visual Studio, nothing like that. To me, that was super amazing, just to start writing some code, and the product was, oh damn, there's a program that does this. Oh, I was able to make a robot dance just by typing things here. So that feeling is amazing. I always say that my superpower is understanding technology, but being better at doing business.
This is like the superpower for every entrepreneur.
That's my superpower.
Yes.
And so it's like, I love building, but I also know I'm not the best builder. I'm not gonna code or that.
So you just create the concept, and then you right away start looking for great people who will join and build it, right?
Totally. So now, what keeps me motivated? I mean, that's why I came out of retirement. And the thing, I saw this big opportunity to actually do something impactful, like I'm saying, democratize
AI. For whole LATAM.
I could be doing...
And also to keep data secure.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that can impact and will impact LATAM region, the development, and then maybe we'll leave LATAM. But that's something impactful, a legacy. I'm a bit of egomaniac, but I like the fact that like with Quiubas, still to this day it's being used. and that's something that I built. So now this is a much larger play. I have no idea how big it is. I always joke with my friends that I want to make Saptiva at least 10,000 times larger than Quiubas.
Wow.
If I'm sure, I'm convinced that Quiubas is not my masterpiece. I just think it was the beginning.
First iteration.
Exactly, and now Saptiva is going to be really my masterpiece. So that keeps me motivated. They say about the money, all this and that. I said, yeah, it's fine, but I was born without the toys, right? So now,
what do I need to lose?
and I just say, hey, imagine like back when I started building websites when I went into college in 1999. And I was very naive, very stupid, very dumb. I didn't know anyone. So now, with the experience that I have honestly, my network is amazing. I feel very lucky. I appreciate all the people that I can either call friends or colleagues or founders that are really there, and that we actually care for each other, and that we're happy if we see each other success. It doesn't matter if they're more successful than us and whatever. So it's amazing. So and with what I know, right? I never like saying I'm smarter. I always say I'm 20 years less dumb than what I was when I started.
It's a great community.
Right?
Yes,
so imagine what I can do now.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. And like I know that this journey of the founder is super tough, right? So it's always a roller coaster. So what is your secret for keeping your mental health in the right condition, like to overcome all of the challenges? Do you have some specific habits or routine, or like what do you do in these challenging moments?
I think that I'm very resilient. I think that my mind is very strong, in the sense that I don't think there's something big enough that can knock you down. I've always been a believer that something that has helped me in my formation as a person, as a man, is the fact that I played football, American football.
Yeah.
Not soccer, but well, that's another thing.
Yes.
With American football, I played for almost 20 years. Football, and I've always played sports, all kinds of sports, but football specifically, it's such a hard sport that requires a lot of discipline, but it's hard in the sacrifices that you have to do when they hit you, when you're injured.
Yeah,
So and I started playing when I was 5, and I really love that sport, and so I think that shape me into ways like being a relentless leader. That's something that a lot of people recognize me, even people that hasn't worked with me. They recognize me as a good leader. So that's the first thing, and then the other thing is like it doesn't matter how much pain you get, you can always be hurt more, but you
Great advice, great things.
But you can always, stand up and continue playing. That's it. So one thing, I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but when he gave this speech last year, well, almost 2 years ago, I think, when he was introduced to the Patriots Ring of Honor or Hall of Fame, he gave this amazing speech that almost made me cry, on saying why he encouraged guys to play football.
Okay.
And he said so many examples and so many things that that's what makes your character, your mind, to be relentless and never want to give up, right? So I would think that's why my mind is so strong on that. I have a certain discipline. I exercise myself every day. I don't do all that shit about the 5 a.m. club or 3 in the morning. No, I do hit the gym at 10 to 7 in the morning. Then in the evening I do boxing because I like violence, right? Like having sparring and all that. And then Thursdays I do golf. So it's part of that. I always, but I don't. It's because I like it. It's not to say, oh, I need to distress.
I need to do that. You also like it.
Yes, I just love that. And then I have a challenge for this year that I will run the New York City Marathon.
Wow!
Even though I hate running.
Me too. I hate running.
But that's
the point.
It's on my bucket list. So I'll just run it one, and I'm not running any other marathon. But
just
that's
one bucket,
exactly.
one ticket,
but that's my mind. Like nothing's gonna stop me. My mind is set up there. I will get there. Doesn't matter who gets on my way.
So with all of that, what you've shared, I know that we have to summarize everything, and there is two things which I would like to ask you in the end. Like, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs and founders who are just starting out or in the beginning of their journey? What advice would be from you?
The first one is that not to let themselves influence by social media. I think social media doesn't help most of the founders, because I mean, if you see someone saying, hey, I raised $3 trillion with my idea in 1 week. Maybe you've been working on your startup for 3 years, and you're like, what? This guy just raised $3 trillion? Oh, I'm such a loser. Why? Who guarantees you that that's true? And the other one, why do you care? If you're seeing who's doing everywhere, anyone, you're looking there and you're not looking here where you have to. So that's something that I think it affects a lot. So and then founders lose sight of what's really valuable. Fine if you raise money, but you have to keep in mind that the goal is to create a successful, valuable company. Valuable in the sense that it creates value, not that it's
just
valued.
Have money from investors.
Exactly.
Because how many times it's just like, okay, founders raise money, they know how to raise money, but they don't know how to make actually successful company and business.
Correct. And I also think that most of the time founders want quick success.
Yeah. So
it's always this joke in the industry about, oh, an overnight success. Oh yes, it was 15 years.
15
That's
years
a very long night, right? So everybody wants, immediate success. That's not gonna happen. It's gonna take long time. I don't know. Everybody has their own, time frames.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be immediate. People want to think, especially in Silicon Valley, right, in tech in general. But I don't know if you're familiar with this app, the Joe app. That was just it used to just send, hey Joe, and they raised an insanely amount of money,
I've heard about that. Yes.
8 years ago or something like that. Why, right? So it's like people expect that. Yeah, it would be amazing, but that's not.
Yeah.
I think it's more probable to be hit by a thunderstruck than than that happening. So it would be just that. Just keep focused. Don't look at social media. Don't compare yourself to other guys, and keep your eyes on the prize.
Wow, that's an amazing advice. Really, really, really thank you. Because it was something from different perspective, what I didn't expect to hear from you. It was not like about don't give up and so on. It was like different. Okay, so, and then last one. What would you give as an advice to your future self? Future self who is still leading Saptiva?
First, that exact same advice. I'm an old school founder, old school entrepreneur, right?
That's great.
In the sense, when I started that, a lot of my friends say, hey, the thing is that when you started, nothing existed. Mm-hmm. So you were on the Wild West and everything. So I made myself from being relentless and I'll kick everybody's shit of my road, of my way and all that. But nowadays it's completely different. I say, it's always the best time to start. Always, it's always the best time to start, right? But nowadays, starting a company, it's super easy. It's super easy. I don't understand when founders complain about, I didn't raise money. Come on, man. You don't need money. You have 10 million tools for everything that you don't need money. You need sacrifice, which is something that most founders don't want to do. They want the easy thing. So where am I going with this is that same environment creates more entrepreneurs, more founders, more competition. I don't like competition. I don't think competition is good. Competition, it only hurts companies, but at the same time, it also makes you stronger. And the competition is only going to kill companies, startups, whatever, that are not up to the challenge, right? But my point is, back in the day, I had 10 competitors. I killed them all easily. I killed them easily. But nowadays, I might have 10 competitors every week.
Yes, that's true.
Exactly. So that's something new. So that's why I would give the same advice. Just doesn't matter if now, and even it puts me in the position since it's Angel. Angel has much more weight on his shoulder to become successful, and people are expecting me to be much more successful, which it's fine, and they're right. Yeah, I have more chances to become successful on Saptiva, but I'm doing this for me, right?
For somebody, and for somebody's expectations.
Exactly, right? But I have so many things going on here, and a lot of people saying or creating things about me, about the Saptiva, or what should I do or what I shouldn't do, right? Because then again, 2025, it's not 2007.
Yeah.
So I would give the same advice, and just surround myself with brighter minds than me. I told you before that I think that I'm not smarter than before, but less dumb. But I do know I'm a bright guy. I do know I have a sharp mind, but I'm not even in the top 50 of the most smart people that I know. So in that part, I'm happy to recognize. I'm happy to have access to such bright minds that want to help me. So it's just okay. Just keep embracing them, and keep making friends. That's the advice I would give to myself.
Oh my God, this is an amazing conversation with you. To be honest, I have such an honor to have you here sharing with that, and I'm sure that this conversation will help so many aspiring entrepreneurs and founders to keep going and to make those wins, so exit, IPO, or just like successful business for themselves, for their families, because that's the beauty of that. Once you start accepting everything as a game, once you start playing, not just like take also it's like too serious, then it's like, oh, it will be the end of my life if this will not gonna work, because if this not gonna work, something else will gonna work, right? Yeah, totally. So this is like just about iteration. But I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for such an amazing conversation. I wish you good luck, and I hope that Saptiva will be 20,000 times bigger than
it will be.
Yeah.
Then
Thank
you can
so
have me
much.
on your podcast again.